Hi everyone, it's great to see you. I am going to be planting up the 2 small window boxes that go on our shed. So recently you saw me plant up our larger copper window box that is on the side of the house, and I really want these to mirror that same combination of plants. It won't be exactly the same, but I like some of that continuity between different areas in the garden. Now, these window boxes are considerably smaller. These are 24-inch window boxes, but you're going to see that I am going to stuff a lot of plants in here, once again, because I want them to look full and beautiful right away. It does mean that later in the season, I will probably be changing some things out as they outgrow this space. So let me tell you what we're going to be adding in here. This is the one difference between the other window box I planted. This is a rockapulco rose, and over on the side of the house, I used rockapulco double impatiens, but I used more of a bright coral color, and this is their real bright pink color. So we're going to have, of course, that same growing habitat. Your double impatient really likes the shade. It's going to get up about 10 inches tall. So I'll be putting these in the back here, and they'll all be in a nice line. And I'm thinking about 3 because they really do bush out quite a lot. And I want to give them room to sort of expand and have some growth space. Now, just like with the side window box, I'm going to be putting in the Endless Illumination browallia, which I just love. These little purple flowers are continuous throughout the season, and this is a part shade to shade plant, and I'm going to be adding in 3 of these per window box. And then I'm going to sort of cluster these a bit more towards the center. And then I'm going to add in the dichondra silver falls. Now, I have been wondering if there are other types of dichondra out there. Dichondra silver falls is what everybody talks about, what you find in all the nurseries. So if you have seen, or even better yet, planted a different type of dichondra, would you please let me know so I can be on the lookout for that? I do love this plant. To me, this is just a very delicate spiller over the edge. It has the silver color, which is a little different in contrast to what I'm growing here. And because they're these small leaves, it really looks very delicate and, I don't know, romantic, just sort of spilling over the edge. So this is how our box is going to look. Now, these are the first time, of course, that I'm planting up these particular plants here. And whenever you have plants that have just come from your nursery that are going in the ground or in a planter, you probably do want to add a little fertilizer. I like the biotone, which is for those new plants in particular. So here I have my biotone starter, and you wouldn't use this throughout the rest of the year. It's just in the beginning, and you can sprinkle it on top like this. You can wait till you dig some holes, or you can wait until you actually put the plants in the holes and then sprinkle it on top. It doesn't really matter. The idea is that you want some of this on here, though, to really help with the root growth, and that's what this does. This is going to stimulate getting these plants settled into where you're planting them. I had already added some potting mix, and just like with your planters and window boxes, you want to add a planting mix, and this was already moistened very well. Sometimes, depending on your experience, you might actually choose to add some perlite to this to sort of loosen it up, to make it drain even better. Drainage for any of your planters is really important. I have drainage holes in the bottom of these boxes already. And there's a fine line between keeping everything happy with enough moisture and then making it too moist for them. So you do want to check them. I find the easiest way to check is just to stick your finger in the dirt and sort of see what consistency it is. And right now, if I were doing that, I'd be saying, oh, it is plenty wet enough. Don't add any moisture yet. So there are my rockapulcos right in the back. And now I'm going to add in my beautiful browallia. And I do not have drip hooked up to my window boxes. And in a way, I think that helps me because it does force me to check to see if they really need water or not. And from experience, this particular area, this particular window box, I don't know what it is, it does seem to stay pretty moist. So it sort of helps me from overdoing it, where I think if they were hooked up on drip, there is the chance that I might really overdo it. Let's see how I want these. I think I'm going to put one in the middle here. And now if I were reading the tags on here, it says for the browallia to leave about an 8-inch space in between things. So they're going to bush out quite a lot, but that's not the look that I'm looking for here. So I am disregarding that recommendation and planting it nice and close to everything. But that is exactly what I want to do, so that's okay. And look at how much taller it is right now than these double impatiens in back. That is absolutely fine. Don't worry about that. They will all grow in and have their own space before you know it. Sometimes though, when you get done and see that, it can be a little disconcerting because it's not the way we want it to end up. And you can, in any planters, kind of plant these so they tip sideways a bit. Like I want this to spill forward and I want these to spill out to the corners. So I'm actually taking that root ball and planting it slightly sideways. And I do that with a lot of my planters. That is absolutely fine. Sort of play around with them until you get them where you want them. Now this is a pretty tall one. I'm going to switch it over here and put a shorter one in the middle. And I think I'm going to like that better. There we go. Oh, that's looking much better. Okay, a little dirt in there. Okay, now I'm going to switch up and do the exact same thing in the other window box. Now notice that I'm just sort of rearranging things here, making sure I have the spacing just like I want. Okay, I think I like that. And I love these little wispy tendrils that are hanging over the edge. I think that just looks so neat. I am going to take just a little extra time to add in some slow release fertilizer, which will help me as we go through the year, through the summer, to make sure that these are, oops, and I can't get that top off. There we go. To make sure that these stay well fed, any of your flowers that are going to really have continual blooms like this need to have some fertilizer. And I will try to give them some liquid fertilizer, some water-soluble fertilizer. However, this just helps because it has that little bit that it's going to release every time I do a regular watering, which I know I'm much better at than the fertilizing. Oh, these look so pretty. So now we need to go and put them on the side of the shed and see how they look. I just love how these look. I think there is such a beautiful cottagey look to those window boxes. And you know, you could even have just chosen 3 of these plants, put them in, and they will fill in throughout the summer. And what a beautiful piece to walk through. It just gives me a sense of happiness and calmness to see the beautiful flowers. Each year I try to do something a little different. So my switch up this year is really the dichondra falls. I haven't used that in window boxes before this year. So it gives you the option to take a small little area and just do something different and creative, which is really fun. This also is out of reach of the bunny rabbits. So if you're one of the people out there whose rabbits are enjoying your flowers, plant something that you know the bunnies would love, but they can't reach it up here. You get to enjoy it here, even though maybe it's something that you can't put directly in the ground. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.